Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and you guys, today's topic is a weird topic. I'm just going to preface that, and I hope it lands the way it's in my mind. I was back at my parents' house. My parents live on 7.5 acres in California. When I told my husband I was from California, and then he went and saw where my family lived in California, he literally told me that that's not California. He said, you live out in the middle of nowhere. It's true. We live just on the outskirts of Sacramento, 7.5 acres. It's beautiful. My parents have horses, so I've always grown up with horses. Yes, once upon my life. That's true. Once upon my life, I thought about being a rodeo barrel racer. That was until I galloped the first time on my horse and completely fell off. And I was like, Dad, I never want to do that again. My dad's a true cowboy. He's rope and ride and rodeos. And he told me, Kiera, you get back on that horse. I think that goes for a lot of lessons in life, right? If something doesn't go as well as we thought it would, get back on the horse, get back in the saddle, try again, because otherwise fear just creeps up to you. So that goes with firing, that goes with hiring, that goes with giving uncomfortable conversations. Get back on that horse until it becomes comfortable. While I never did rodeo racing, barrel racing, I do know how to gallop on a horse. I do know how to ride a horse. I do know how to saddle a horse. I do know how to get that horse to get a bit in their mouth. That is always the trickiest part. Those teeth are huge, guys. But my parents live in a beautiful place. They also have cows. My parents never allowed me to get chickens because my dad grew up on a dairy farm and said, Kiera, chickens are disgusting and they always smell bad. So I grew up, my husband was quite shocked. Those of you who know me, this might come as a shock for you as well. I grew up, I wore gum boots because my parents, it's muddy out there and you have to walk up, feed the horses. Luckily, I had a lot of brothers. That was a perk of having brothers in my life, as I didn't always have to do all the dirty work, but I still did a lot of it. Shoveling manure, hay bales, getting those hay bales with those hay hooks. We had a family lawn business as well. So I kind of grew up as a country girl for sure. And so I say that with a background to this topic because while I was at my parents' house, they have a beautiful view. Like I said, they live in the country. It's stunning where they live. And one day I was at their house and I was outside and there was this huge flock of geese. Now geese, I remember them when my husband and I were at Midwestern, and those geese were downright angry. They would hiss at me. They would try and bite my ankles when I was pedaling my bike up to the college because we didn't have a car because we were so poor. So geese, I'm not super crazy about, but the geese at my parents' house, they were going. And it was really interesting because I was watching them and their formation was a V. Obviously, we all know birds fly in a V. But the thing that I thought was super interesting is they would honk in communication as they were flying. They were all going in this V shape, and they were also working together as this team of geese. Okay. So I was thinking about this because I was wanting to apply it to team members. So geese formation, the reason they're in that V is they say, literally, it says scientists have determined that the V-shaped formation that geese use when migrating serves two important purposes. First, it conserves their energy. Each bird flies slightly above the bird in front of them, resulting in reduced wind resistance. Okay. So first and foremost, they're in this V so that way they can they're reducing the wind resistance because the birds in the front, they take turns being in the front. So that way when they get tired, then they fall to the back. That way they can fly for a long time before they actually must stop and rest. That's super crazy. They also said that flying alone, they beat their wings more frequently and have a higher heart rate than those that fly in a formation. So the birds that are a formation, they glide more often and reduce energy expenditures. Okay. So like they're literally saving energy. They're leading the pack, but then they can fall back. They're also able to glide and have more just like ease is how I would do it. And the other one is they fly in a V formation to keep track of every bird in the group. So that way they're able to assist in communication and coordination within the group. And also, fighter pilots use the same formation for the exact same reason. That way they can keep track of each other. Okay, so that was on loc.gov, Everyday Mysteries Zoology. All right, so if you want to go read it, that's where I pulled that information from. Have you guys heard? But like, really, have you heard? And are you the type of person that loves to take massive action? Well, if you are, I would love to invite you to Dental Team's virtual summit, April 22nd through 23rd. And yes, right now, guys, it's early bird. That means it's $200 off the normal ticket price. You guys are going to learn how to optimize your practice this year. We know it's been a rough year. People have quit. We've had COVID. We've had changes. So we want to teach you guys how to optimize within your practice now and execute. Friday is full team. Saturday is all things leadership. So bring your team, get some CE, take massive action. Head on over to thedentalateam.com. Coupon code is Summit Early Bird, and it's valid until March 31st. That's Summit Early Bird, all one word, and it's valid until March 31st. So guys, head on over. I can't wait to have you take massive action, optimize your practice, and execute. Let's make 2022 your best year. But the reason I bring this up is because think about your team and how can this apply to your team? I was thinking, do we actually have systems in play to make our days glide smoothly? Literally, a system makes it so much easier. To me, that's like being in a V formation. It's a system. We're all able to follow it. We're all able to glide through our days a lot easier, and it actually conserves energy. Systems for confirmation calls, systems for room setups, systems for how we do our labs, system for how we greet new patients. All of these things are actually systems that make our days glide. So do you have systems? And where we're beating our wings and spending so much energy, that I feel needs to go on an issue board, and we need to create a system to be able to conserve energy and make it through our day with ease. So I was just thinking about that. Like, do you guys have a set process for that? Also, do we kind of have a buddy system in a practice where we're looking out for one another? Or is it like every man for himself? These birds literally fly across the globe. And I think about this, like they're able to move so far, so fast, so easily. But yet in our practice, does it ever feel like we barely make it one step forward and then like 75 steps backwards? So how are you guys communicating together? Are you guys consistently having meetings? Are you guys talking with each other? Do you have each other's back? Are we helping a team member out? Are we looking for ways to make someone else's life easier? Or are we just obsessed with making sure we're taken care of? Because I'll tell you, if you're by yourself, you're going to be beating your wings, having a much harder day, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to get anything done than if you're working in a team. Also, the last part is just thinking about this of like, are we making sure that when we're tired, somebody else can take the lead? AKA a leadership team. Do you have a leadership team in place? So doctors and office managers, you're not sitting here beating your heads against the wall trying to come up with every solution that you need to. Is that in place for you? Do you have it to where if somebody needs to step back or take a vacation, there are other people that can fill in the spots? Again, coming to systems. So just thinking about this, what I also love is their simplicity, right? It's not hard. They fly in a V. They're able to all take the weight off of each other. That's a system, but they haven't complicated it. It's not like, okay, today the system is going to be we're flying in a W, 2 Vs side by side. No, these birds literally through nature have been able to make their lives super simple. So I get that I'm on this like weird tangent of geese, but I think it's because all of us have seen birds fly in a V. Also realizing why they're doing it and then taking that and applying it to your practice. I literally, like when I heard those geese honk above me, going up above me, and then when they honked, literally the whole V shifted and the person in the front or the bird in the front came back and they all moved. And it was through this like simple communication. They weren't like, all right, let's draw a plan. It was literally simple communication that created massive change. So I was thinking about this. I literally pulled out my phone, wrote this down and said geese honking V systems. Like that's literally what it says on my phone. because I thought about you guys and your practices. How can you communicate more succinctly so as soon as you say something, the whole team can follow through? Do we have simple enough systems that the whole team knows? Do we practice this? Do we role play it? Just like children in school where we did fire drills. All of us did fire drills. For me, growing up in Utah, I also had earthquake drills. Yes, guys, fun fact, I grew up in Utah for a little bit too. We had earthquake drills, so get under your desk, fire, stop, drop, and roll. We practice those things. Do you as an office practice new patient experience from phone call to seating in the back? Do we practice verbiage for perio? Do we practice verbiage on implants, ortho, crowns, how we present that so it's super easy and simple? Can we, with one click of the fingers, everybody knows exactly what we need to do? Do we know what we need to do if we're running behind? Have we simplified this so much? Have we simplified our ops so that way every room is the same way? That way it's easy when we walk into a room, we don't have to scramble and look for things. How can you simplify? That's where, for me, I almost want to put a picture of a V of the birds on my phone. So I'm remembering to simplify, to communicate succinctly, to have a leadership team in place so when one person gets tired, the whole thing doesn't fall apart and we can glide smoother. Also looking to see where are we not gliding and we need to add and improve those systems. This is literally what we do at the Dental A team. We go into a practice, we look for these areas where it's not easy and give them a system to where the whole thing can glide. I can't tell you how many people I've literally created a view where the insurance is listed at the top and they're able to then see exactly all the Delta Dentals, all the MetLifes. So insurance verification went from 4 hours down to 3 hours, down to 2 hours, down to 1 hour because we gave them a system where they can glide smoother and help out in other areas. So I would just ask you, review your practice, look at your systems, look at your leadership team, look to see, do we have a buddy? Are we looking out for one another and making sure that other people are taken care of in our practice? And in any of those areas you may have said no, I want you right now to create an action item of what you could do to fix that and then take it to your leadership or to your team meeting next or to your morning huddle. And let's come up with a way that we can all go together, go for longer distances with more ease. There's a quote that I love where it says, "How can I do less and create more?" To me, that's the definition of simplicity. How can we do less and create more? I challenge you guys to think about this, to take it on, and let me know. Email me, hello@thedentalateam.com. I'd love to hear from you. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dental A Team podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.